Today we will have a ULB perspective on NRW. Last week we had a session on Amrut with Ms. Thara, and she will also be joining us for a short while today. But today the focus is really on the water utilities, essentially. I'm just going to very briefly introduce the people to you, very briefly. Also, the attendees are muted. They can send questions at any time they want through Q&A. We're going to have moderated discussion first, which is that it'll be very interactive, no remarks as such, just a question after question with various people. And then we will have some questions from the audience. Very briefly, Mr. Sharad Kumar is member Water Supply, Delhi Jal Board, Government and City of India, has got about 3.5 decades of experience in the sector. And he's previously worked with DDA and Greater Noida Industrial Development Authority. He's a civil engineer by training, also has a master's degree in disaster management as well. We are very happy to have Mr. Kumar with us. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Kumar. Also with us is, has Mr. Satyanarayan been able to join us yet? No, he was having some issues, but he will be joining us shortly. We have with us Mr. Rajiv Kane, Additional Chief Engineer, Bangalore Water Supply and Sewerage Board. He has got 2.5 decades of experience working with the board. He's a structures mechanical engineer and has an MBA as well. Also with us is Mr. Sanjay Gupta, who is Chief Engineer at NDMC. He has about 2.5 decades of experience as well. He's on deputation to NDMC from CPWD, and he's a civil engineer by training. Also with us is Mr. Pradipta Sarkar, who is director at NGS Engineers India, has got about 2.5 decades of experience as well, and has worked on many NRW projects and other water projects with Bangalore, with Agra, with Guwahati, among others, and also has worked with L&T and JUSCO as well. And he's a mechanical engineer by training. And he will provide the consultant perspective. And to provide the technology provider perspective, we have Mr. Amit Vaidya, who is Strategic Accounts Director with Xylem. He's got about 20 years experience in the energy and utility sector, has done a great deal of work in AMI, smart metering, and related areas. We will be joined for some time by Ms. Devi Thara. She's Joint Secretary and Mission Director of Amrut, has been in the past, has worked as Municipal Commissioner in cities of Ahmedabad, Khera, Rajkot, Vadodara, and Sundarnagar. She's also the CEO of Ahmedabad Urban Development Authority, and she was also Vice Chairman and MD of Gujarat Industrial Development Corporation, Government of Gujarat. Mr. Satyanarayan, who will be joining us, hopefully he was having some technical issues. I think he's joining us now, I can see that. Executive Director with the Hyderabad Metropolitan Water Supply and Sewerage Board, has got about 3 decades of experience, and currently heads the water supply part of the Hyderabad Metropolitan Water Supply and Sewerage Board. So we've got a very eminent panel, and as I said, what we are going to do is to ask questions and begin with, and then we will have we'll then have take questions from the audience. Okay, my first question is to Mr. Sharad Kumar. Mr. Sharad Kumar, what is the, 2 questions for you very briefly. What's the current level of water supply services in your city or in your area in terms of how many households are getting water supply from Delhi Jal Board? And also, what is the current level of NRW, both in terms of percentage, but also in terms of actual revenue that you think you're losing?
Yes. Good morning, everybody. The water supply scenario of Delhi, basically we have around 20 million population in Delhi, plus the floating population. As per the demand of the water supply, we have around 1150 million gallon per day, out of which we have the production of 935 million gallon per day. There is shortage of the water supply. As well, we are catering about, we have the sanctioned water connection, about 25
Yes, I'm here. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes.
I think we're here.
Yeah. Should I continue? Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Should I continue? Yes. Hello.
Kumar, please continue.
Yeah. So, the Delhi scenario is, as I told you, we are getting about 20 million population plus the floating population and we have the production of about 935 million per gallon per day at present. We certainly have the plan to augment the water supply, but there are constraints of the availability of the raw water. As well, we have the sanctioned water connection about 2.5 million, as well as there are many other connections. We can say the contributing to the non-revenue waters and all those. At present, we have the revenue collection of about 1860 crores per annum per year. We have the revenue collection that is really very short of what it should be. Earlier we have the NRW about more than 50%, but at present around 45% NRW is there. We have taking the various measures to reduce the NRW, but recently you must be knowing we have outsourced 3 areas for the as a on the PPP mode, like Malviya Nagar, Vasant Vihar, and Nagloi area in the Delhi. And we have seen the appreciable improvement and achievement in the controlling the NRW, the target of the NRW. In the Malviya Nagar, we have reduced the NRW from 45 to 30%, and further we are reducing it. This is the present scenario in the Delhi, and as far as the revenue collection is there, revenue point of view, we have around, we can say, still we have to achieve a lot, and we are not able to receive the 100% revenue what is to be recovered. And we are trying our best to bring the more modalities and outsource some other areas. In the sense, we are going for the DMAs in the Delhi, and at present we have done the study through JICA, and they have given their reports, and with the help of the JICA as well as the ADB, we have divided the Delhi in the different sectors, like Chandrawal. There is one plant of the Chandrawal plant. There is another plant, that's the Wazirabad plant. We have awarded the works for the Chandrawal plant as well as going for the Wazirabad plant also for the improvement. Basically, the whole Delhi was suggested to be divided into 1010 DMAs for to control the NRW, out of which we have started working on the 160 DMAs. We have started working on the 160 DMAs, as well as on the other DMAs work is going on, and some DMA work has already been awarded and being taken up, and by the Nagloi water supply, they are doing 82 DMAs work. 598 DMAs work has been awarded for the consultancy. That's going on, and we are expecting to get it completed within a year time. After that, we'll take up, and we have planned to the whole of the Delhi to be under these DMAs and to control the non-revenue.
Mr. Kumar, what is the future target for NRW?
Future target, yes, very right question. Actually, we are also thinking to bring it up to the 10% or below 10 to 15%, okay. Not more than that.
And what was in the past 5 years ago? What was it? What was the level 5 years ago or 10 years ago?
5 years ago, it was more than 50%. I can say it was around 50% or more. But slowly, actually, although we have not able to cover the whole area right now, but the some area in which we have awarded the work and work is going on, there we have certainly got the appreciable that reduction in
I'm going to come back to that and ask you questions about that. Let me go to Mr. Satyanarayan now. Sir, if you can unmute your thing. Question for you, Mr. Satyanarayan. If you can unmute, yes, yeah, that's fine. Sir, what is the level of water supply in terms of how many households are supplied with water, piped water by your organization? And also, what is your estimate of the non-revenue water in terms of percentage as well as in terms of revenue loss? Mr. Satyanarayan, please.
Yeah, very good morning, sir. I'm Sachin Narayana, the Executive Director of Hyderabad Metropolitan Water Supply and Sewerage Board. And we have in a core city we call the erstwhile Municipal Corporation of Hyderabad, we have 100% house-to-house connections, which is around 4 lakh connections in the core city. And we have adjoining municipalities up to about 596 square kilometer area, where almost 90% of houses were connected. And very recently, last year, up to within Outer Ring Road, certain additional areas were attached. We call it as an ORR villages, semi-urban areas, where almost recently we have taken up a big project and were able to connect to all those things. And this is as far as the service level is concerned. But in the core city area, at the rate of 150 LPCD, whatever as per the norms, we are able to provide the supply in the core area. And other areas about 135 LPCD, particularly the peripheral areas, supply rates are slightly less. So this is the supply status. We have major sources from Krishna River and Godavari River. We bring water from far distances, almost a 4-stage pumping. And currently we are supplying about 436 million gallons of water. That is around 1982 MLD. And coming to again this NRW, this billing quantity, it is somewhere around 317 million gallons of quantity we are able to bill. We have a revenue billing system, and we have 10.8 lakh connections. We have house-to-house connections of various categories, both domestic, commercial, bulk, and all other categories, and pipe size ranging from 15 mm to 700 mm dia. So large connections are for MEAs, cantonment, and railways, and like that. And smaller size connections of 15 mm is mostly for the domestic. So the coming to the metering size wise, if we
sir, what is the NRW level?
I'm coming, sir. I'm coming. NRW is for the last 12 months data. Just I have taken from our system, sir. It's varying from 36.6% to 27.27%. So every month, and on the first of this thing, we calibrate it automatically. The system we have a UFW matrix automatically generates the NRW at the first of month. So this last month we have 28.64% is our NRW.
Sir, what was it 5 years ago?
Yeah, it was around 35 to 36% in that range only, sir.
And what is your future target, sir?
Yeah, we have, sir. In this again, this 28.64% of March 2020. Now the last month is 28.64. And apart from that, certain known quantity is there. So we provide supply through mobile tankers and some charitable institutions and some public stand posts. That also we account it. When we account again further, it will come down. That is around 50 MLD is there. So our future plans, sir, so basically we have the very immediate, our Honorable Minister also had put certain targets of 10% reduction immediately we have taken up for this thing. So for that, our is all reservoir auditing, where the reservoirs and other places identified leakages. We have identified about 36 reservoirs. We have taken up on this picture. And metering to all non-domestic connections, around 60,000 connections we have identified where we want to go for fixing all the AMR meters. And ring fencing about 1,500 DMA is also already we have taken up this thing. So with this, we want to bring down to around 5% through metering. And through WAP program, we have taken up water leadership and conservation. One program we have taken up particularly to educate the customers not to waste the water. So through that rallies, and we have engaged certain volunteers and NGOs. So through that method, about 5%. So total 10%, we have a target of reduction. And about 32,000 connections, specific pilot zone also we have taken. So with this, where we are targeting about 20% for the 32,000 connections. Okay, how best we can bring down. They are closely 100% metering we are planning to take up, and geotagging of every individual house and entire pipe network to convert into GIS, and SMS alerts also during the supply timing. So whenever the supply goes, it's not a 24/7, it's the intermittent supply. The customer must be known exactly at what time they get the supply, so that they will not waste the water. So the idea is we found more of water wasting at the doorstep of the customers. So these are some of our
Yeah, I'm going to ask you more questions afterwards. And just to let everybody know, we have about 105 people who have logged in at this particular point.
Yeah.
Mr. Rajiv, my next question, same question for you, sir. In Bangalore area, how many are households are supplied? What is the NRW level? What is the estimated revenue loss?
Yeah, good morning. I am Rajiv, representing Bangalore Water Supply and Sewerage Board. Ours is the organization formed during 1964. There onwards, we are working on this. And presently, we are having a service area of 800 square kilometers, out of which we are serviced already 600 square kilometers, and 200 is very recently it has added to the Bangalore area. In this 600 square kilometer, right now we have almost 10 lakh connections, and each water connection is already metered, and at present we are supplying 1440 MLD of water, and our population is around 1.3 crores. At present we are having UFW of 35%, because ours is entire water supply system is metered. Even bulk supply, what we are getting from 100 kilometer away is also, we are 100 kilometer away, what the water we are getting, that also we are measuring. So what is the quantum of bulk water supply and what is the distribution? Based on that, every month we are doing the DCB, demand, collection, billing, all those we are going to do every month systematically. And our revenue is around 120 crores per month. Okay, that is 1,440 crores per year. And we have a target also to service entire 200 square kilometer, which is very newly added to BWSSB. So there we are expecting a connection of 3 lakhs. So our connection will be by 2025. It will be of 13 lakh connections. We would like to increase our revenue to 150 crores by 2025. Along with that, we would like to reduce our UFW to an extent of 25% by 2030. And the UFW reduction is possible because of the data-aided project we are taken in the core area from 2013 to 2015. That is 3 years of capital work investment project and 5 years of maintenance. That maintenance is going to get completed by this year, and we are to take on over those areas by ourselves, and we have to continue our UFW projects. In that earlier UFW, we are analyzed for that particular 5 lakhs connections covering 150 square kilometers, where around 42 to 45%. We have adopted stringent measures to reduce the UFW, replaced very old pipes. Our pipes are of very old in nature, not like any other cities. It is of 50 years old pipes are also there. It requires huge investment. We are looking forward to extend this UFW project to the other core areas, means that is of another 200 square kilometers in coming years, and will reduce the UFW by 2030 to 25%, and for which we are.
I'm going to come back and ask you what all you're doing. If I can go to Mr. Gupta now from NDMC. Mr. Gupta, if you can brief, same question for you, level of, number of households supplied, percentage of households supplied, and the level of NRW. Mr. Gupta. Yeah. Mr. Gupta, are you able to hear us? Okay, I just see his picture now, so maybe he's okay. So that's fine. When he comes back, we'll ask him. I know that he had a meeting as well in between. Let me very briefly go to Mr. Sarkar. Mr. Sarkar, what are the overall numbers on NRW? Very briefly, what are the total? I know that data is not fully accurate, but what is the total for the country? Your estimate, and what is the range in terms of lowest to highest for different urban areas?
Good morning to all. This is Pradipto Sarkar.
Yeah.
You see, the overall country estimate of non-revenue water is more or less it's the same. If we take an average of the total NRW, we will see that the NRW will be in the range of 40 to 45%. And within each city, you will have different types of NRW levels based on the age of that area or the type of infrastructure in that area. And you will see that the NRW means to start with, the NRW may even go up to, in some areas, up to 60, 65%. And in some areas, by default, also the NRW will be as low as 30%.
So 30 to 65% is what it is.
Yeah, that is a general.
Yeah, I'm going to come back to you later on as we get more into it. I think, Mr. Vaidya, what are the global norms or in not just developed countries, but maybe even other developing countries?
Okay, yeah, thanks. Good morning, everyone. So the global numbers percentage varies from country to country, I would say.
Right, of course.
For example, in US, it's averaged out to be 20 to 24%.
It is that high, is it? I would have thought that would be lower.
Yeah, average out. If I say the good and bad, probably average would be between 20 to 24. Even in Europe, some of the countries like Netherlands, Denmark, it's less than 10%, 6% to 8%, and at the same time, some of the European countries it's more than 20%. So it's maybe due to own infrastructure. And
could you give examples of some other developing countries?
Yeah, so the very good example I would say for the less NRW would be Singapore. Singapore PUD is as low as around 6 to 7% at this point of time.
Singapore is a fairly developed market. What about any developing countries?
So developing countries is around between 20 to 20 to 35%.
Okay,
that's
okay. So let me go back to Mr. Shalabh Kumar now. Mr. Shalabh Kumar, you were beginning to talk about the various strategies that you are doing. Dividing the your area into different areas, and then you are working on about 150 or 60 focused. You also have 3 PPPs as well that are going on. So a lot of different things that are going on in the Delhi area. So my question to you is, Mr. Kumar, is that of the different things that you've tried, what have been the most successful things? And what have been the biggest challenges in terms of where you weren't quite able to do what you wanted to do, Mr. Kumar?
Yes. Actually, the biggest challenge in implementing the reduction of the NRW, creation of the DMA, that as everybody knows, the population of the Delhi in a very different, there are the different colonies in the Delhi, some are the planned colonies, some are the unplanned colonies, some are the unauthorized colonies, JJ clusters. No doubt, in the planned colonies, we are facing not much of the problem, but the other areas where the mixed population and unplanned growth is there, we are facing a lot of problem. The most important issue is the inter-coordination issues with the department, as we don't have the ownership of the land, ownership of the road and other things. So there, to get the permission from the various departments, it also takes a lot of the time. It's a difficult, although we get that, there's no problem in getting those, but that take a lot of the time in implementation of the thing. Another thing, the mindset of the people. Basically, the people who are getting the water with a particular mindset, there are people who have got a certain enterprise connections and or the unmetered connection or anyway, they are getting the water. If you go to them and ask them if we are going to set it right, we are going to bring it to the metering connection, they are, most of them, some of them they cooperate, most of them they do not cooperate. Sometimes a little bit local political representative, other people also, just to please the people and get the short-term favor with them, they also raise for them. They try to get it deferred for some time, which are the main difficulties with the agencies who are working over there. They are unable to achieve their time targets as well as what they have planned to implement in the field. So I feel these are the basic things which we are getting, we have to face in the field.
Mr. Satyanarayan, same question for you. What have been the most successful initiatives that you've had, and what have been the biggest challenges? Yeah, sir, you have to unmute.
In the distribution of water in all areas at convenient time to the customers, that is the most challenging one, being intermittent supply and staggered supply. Here, early hours, somewhere between 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning, the supplies we have to minimize. Again, late evening also, that is another problem. And unfortunately, still during the staggered supply, all the operation linemen are most of the semi-literate people. They have to open the valves and close. Those things we are trying, and the best successful water network management on the transmission side, we have outsourced everything, right from treatment plant and pump houses and transmission network and everything we outsourced. MOM contracts are there. So there absolutely, and there is no departmental personnel, and efficiency levels are working well. So the treatment plants and where we have built in the SCADA systems and the good valves and everything is absolutely working well on the transmission and integrated transmission
If I can ask you a question about the MOM, the contracts that you're talking about. What are the requirements from them? I mean, what is the outcome that you require?
Yeah, that is around the clock. You know, the treatment plants works around the clock. Yeah. So the total the efficiency levels up to the plant, it has to run to the fullest optimum level, and minimum chemicals and power consumption wise and various aspects. You know, the optimum functioning of those basic mega infrastructure units. You know, there we have made and they are quite effectively working.
From an NRW perspective, which have been the most successful initiatives? We are now at about 27, which is pretty good compared to lots of places. So what has helped you get there? What have been the most successful ones, and what are the challenges that still remain?
Yeah, no. This realizing that NRW is for the last 5 years in phase wise, we have installed a lot of this AMR metering and RFID meters and GSM, and recently on LoRa technology also almost we have called for about 60,000 meters to install with LoRa technology. So basically, it's a metering. If the metering system is perfect on customer meter, so when the accurate reading or measurements are taken, whatever the volume of water we have supplied, so automatically the more billing quantity will come and reduction of NRW is taking place. So in our opinion, this DMES and metering is only the key activity we have to perform, and that really we have taken up on serious basis.
All right. Okay. Same question for Mr. Rajiv. Mr. Rajiv, what have been the most successful initiatives? And I understand that you are in some ways farther ahead. Mr. Rajiv?
Yeah. Sir, we have done elaborate study on UFW for about 150 square kilometers of area in BWSSB right from 2013, and we have noted so many points in which major cause for the UFW are majorly, one is the house connections, perule connection points, where there is an absolutely, if the perule is of a very old nature or GI pipes are there, the connection is not taken in a proper way, in technical way, it all leads to the perule leakage, wherein we are calculated around 8 to 9% of the UFW, NRW leakage will be there. One. Second one is, as per our study on 150 square kilometer, considering 5 lakh connections, reservoir leaks. Some of the reservoirs which are all side-stone masonry reservoirs, which has built 50 years or 20, 30 years over the age, having some side-stone masonry, those reservoirs used to leak to an extent of 6 to 7%. Then, as the earlier speaker has told, the metering, faulty meters, domestic meters, we are having a policy now to replace the entire meter once in 7 months, if routine basis. we have estimated that meter, the wrong reading, the wrong or the default meters and slow reading of the meters, all those things will lead to 6%. So this 20% of the leaks along with the old pipes will lead to almost 20%, 22 to 25 going to happen. We have to plug it down.
Mr. Rajiv, we'll come back to you. Mr. Sarkar, if I can come to you.
Of the shortage of the water.
Right. Okay.
Are you able to hear, sir?
Yes, I'm able to hear you now. In between, we lost you for a little bit of time. Sir, what have been the biggest challenges?
Yeah. Biggest challenges is just one is the intermediate supply we have.
Right.
The supply, yeah, bulk water supply we have. It is also owned by BWSSB, and BWSSB running the bulk water supply also, treatment also. Water is coming to Bangalore almost 100 kilometers away at an elevation of 500 meters. We have getting the water to Bangalore city from the Kaveri river. Our 52 to 55% of revenue will go to pay in the electricity charge. Okay. So that water we are not supplying to any part of the city in 24/7. We have alternate days, 4 hour supply. That is intermediate supply.
And what is the biggest challenge in terms of NRW? Of course, the intermittent supply also affects revenue because people don't.
Yeah, NRW, as I already told, house connections, the house connection leakages, reservoir leakages, faulty meters. These are all will leads to almost 20% of the overall NRW. And along with that, old pipelines and also replacement of the old pipelines are very much essential. That requires also huge funding. And in a very developed area, we cannot change the pipe. We have to entirely replace the network.
I'm back to those as well.
Yeah.
Before I ask the question, I saw a picture of Bangalore reservoirs yesterday. Some of the water bodies, and it's very clean now, thanks to COVID. But Mr. Sarkar, from your perspective, because you look at across the country, what are the most successful strategies? Very, very briefly, and what are the biggest challenges?
You see, basically, if you, based on my last 10 or 15 years assessment of the NRW projects which have been taken pan-India, we have seen that the pilots have been more or less successful. But when they are being scaled up, the actual problems are being surfaced. When they are scaled up for bigger areas or bigger zones, then the problems and the results were not so easy to come. And what we have seen overall is that the general initial NRW will be in the range of 40 to 45%. And the people who are, and the contractors or the utilities were very successful in reducing to a level of 30 to 25%, maybe within 2 years. But the challenge starts after the NRW reaches the 25%.
That's
how to reduce it below that. I think that when the government has given a target of 15% and 10% and all, the challenge, most of you see, we are seeing that the NRW levels are being stagnated at around about 25%. And people are not able to go below that. The reason is mainly what we are seeing is the leakage, which accounts for around about 80 to 85% of NRW. Those what are the visual leaks or what are the available based on active leak detection, those are getting repaired. Meters, more metering are being extended. So we are able to reduce it to a 25 to 30% level. But what is happening when it comes to a 25% level, the operating conditions are changing. Like the pressures are increasing in the system, the hours of supply, because the utilities are having more water, the hours of supply are being increased. So what is happening when you are measuring on a percentage, both the numerator and denominator is changing. So it's to have a 45% NRW and a 15% NRW at a different service levels becomes a different ball game. I think there what we are facing the problem is we need to have a different strategy like pressure management, like utilizing.
I'll come back to that. I'm going to come back to some of the strategies after that.
Yes.
Strategies. Mr. Vaidya, what in your mind, from all of your experience of yours as well as your organizations, what are some of the most successful strategies that are there?
See, look,
Reduce NRW.
yeah, I heard all, and I think this is the very common things from all the utilities. From my perspective, I would say that India is unique, and challenges are different from any developed countries.
Yeah, sir, if you can come closer to the mic so we can hear you better.
Yeah, so I would say that India is unique, and challenges are different from any developed countries. It's not a replicable model. I would say it's a tailor-made model, which we need to adopt. Intermediate water supply, low pressure, actually creates makes things difficult. So we need to adopt the solution that fits for the purpose. As everyone says, I would say that NRW is a combination of real losses and the apparent losses. When I say real losses, it's all about leakages, and the apparent losses, which are linked with the metering accuracies and meter billing inaccuracies. So on the solution side, I would say the reduction of NRW is a continuous journey, reaching from like 45–50% to less than 20% is a continuous journey which utility needs to walk with the small steps, like creation of a DMS, breaking the network into the small DMS, major monitor and control,
like Delhi has done.
Yeah, exactly. So like major monitor and control is the key mantra. Unless and until you install smart sensors, acoustic sensors in the network, and then you start measuring, monitoring, you will try to reduce those apparent losses and real losses. You can do the inline network detections, to identify ferrule related leakages or the leakages which are into the network. So that's another thing, and as sir said, BWSSB, Mr. Rajiv, where the pipe network is old infrastructure and that need to get replaced. Trust me, we have the solutions for doing the pipe assessment program, and 90% we found that 90% of the pipe we found that can still serve for 10 years, 20 years. So doing a pipe assessment with the right tools also is one of the key, where at least you can start doing the pipe assessment program and then get into the where which pipes needs to get replaced. Another key things which sir has said, BWSSB, where he has said that the meters are getting faulty. There are reasons behind it. The technology is old. Now there are meters which are smart meters, which has they already had covered those airflow measurement problems and other features. It comes with the 10 years warranty. So you need to now go with the new technologies, adopt certain smart technologies to get this further reduced, reduction of NRW. You are at 35%. If you really want to reach at less than 20%, going forward for such certain smart solution is key.
Thank you.
Installing meter is not going to serve purpose. Meter cannot be only a billing tool, but getting the data log from there and seeing the consumption pattern and
right.
seeing the leakages at that network level will help you in reduction of the further NRW.
Okay, so I think there are, Mr. Kumar, if I can come to you, it seems obviously that there is leakage and there is metering, two parts to it, and then there is a smart ecosystem that covers everything. Could you, I know you mentioned earlier about, different levels of metering in your area. Could you tell us now in terms of some new initiatives that you have with respect to either smart metering or just better metering, or maybe some leakage detection technologies that you're using? Mr. Kumar?
Yes. We have awarded the work for initially for measuring the water auditing. We have started it from the plant to the primary reservoir to assess the leakages or the water being going waste through the main pipelines. We have awarded the work, and around 4,000, more than 4,000 flow meters are being installed in the Delhi, from starting from the plant to the primary reservoir and then to the secondary reservoirs. These are the first step. We are going ahead with this. These are the major. And for the otherwise, in the other areas, as I earlier told you, we are going for the DMAs in the internal distribution system. There also we are going to install the meters at the various. And moreover, we have planned to integrate all these flow meters within system here. We have the integrated, so we will be having the integrated system for that, for the monitoring of that. We have the program for that, and probably we are going to achieve it within coming 2 years. We are able to get it on our board.
Okay, great. Mr. Satyanarayan, any new initiatives with respect to smarter metering or using of sensors or a smarter ecosystem?
Yeah, yes, sir. Basically, in a different way, we are planning it. Earlier, right from our formation of the board, we have taken certain World Bank assistance and all sort of this NRW plans we have invested. Not much results we could see. And this time, the social interventions and technical interventions, how we can club it. Like that, we have programmed to take up further. So as I told earlier, the customer awareness to minimize the wastage at the customer house. So there we have kind as a walk initiative, water leadership and conservation. So for that, we are engaging 2 active NGOs and activists. The Safe Water Network NGO is the one, so who volunteered even to spare about 50 lakhs with the participation of that team, and walk volunteers and training and engaging them regularly at each unit level, at section level, and auditing of water use efficiency of houses. Each house, again, we are labeling it red, green, and yellow, that no wastage of the water and rainwater harvesting unit they have, and not wasting any of this thing. That again, we are greening. Every house we are labeling at their house. It's called a water use efficiency, and certain residential welfare association and all, they have to take rallies in the houses that during the supply time, water should not spill onto the streets, and door-to-door campaigns and certain other community meetings and construction of rainwater harvesting and introducing water-saving devices, in particular the flow restrictions at all the taps and certain sensors and aerators and etc. This is a social interventions what we have programmed. And coming to the technical interventions, the smart water technology and the detection of log detector, so many things were purchased earlier, because the World Bank, when they funded, they've insisted all sort of these devices to be taken and implemented, and various other things. We separate one UFW project was there, a particular about 30,000 connections. So apart from the results, what now on technical intervention or whatever the strategies, what we have, entire pipeline network GIS mapping we have taken up, and now you guys are one company. The entire pipeline network mapping is there, both and dividing them into hydraulic zones and the general DMA planning, that where this thing, and mapping of revenue generation docket wise, group of every 1,000 connections, the intention to reduce the NRW, each 1,000 connections, we are naming it as one docket. So it's a revenue generation docket, and merging of supply docket and revenue docket. Whatever the sub-hydraulic zone supply pattern, how it goes, only the revenue docket. Means each lineman, we want to make him responsible to supply and revenue. And then preparation of technical intervention plan for each month, and ring fencing of all merged revenue testing, and AMR metering. This is finally AMR metering for all bulk, institutional, and mixed categories of MSB, multi-story building connections and all. So these are some of the practical, both social and technical interventions we have.
Mr. Rajiv, same question for you.
Yeah. So BWSSB on the technical part, there are, as earlier speaker told, we have the 2 categories. On the technical part, new initiatives, we have formed the DMAs in BWSSB, and DMAs are for each service stations also. BWSSB subdivisions are 12 number of divisions are there that are subdivided into 40 number of subdivisions consisting of 3 service stations. That is, we have 101 service stations as on day. Each service station we have divided into 5 DMAs. That means we have 505 DMAs, and our supply pattern and billing pattern is matching in the service station wise in the DMA form. In that respect, we have already installed 1,200 DMA meters in BWSSB. What are the readings we are taking in the DMA meter, and what are the readings taken by our billing persons will be matched every day, every month, and we are going to analyze what is the NRW. So we have another one is AMR meters. We have already installed 8,000 AMR meters for all apartment connections, all bulk connections, and all the higher dia connections where the AMRs are there. So along with that, we have centralized SCADA monitoring system is also there to take the readings are coming directly from AMR meters, DMA meters to our SCADA system, and on real time we are monitoring those readings, and we can regulate the water supply also. If particular area water is going to a higher extent, we cannot monitor, we can regulate. Monitoring regulation means we can tell our assistant engineer or somebody to say that yes, this area is getting more water, you have to divert to this area. A centralized we are made. We are not used smart meters so far. By operating the meters sitting at central office is not yet done because it requires huge investment also. In that it will take another further steps afterwards, achieving this. Another is social side is considered. We have published in the newspapers, and we are asked the people to participate as a water warriors. We are selecting 2 NGOs for each ward to identify the leakages, to identify any other leakages which is not known to the BWSSB persons. They are going to have an interaction with BWSSB people and inform us, so that leakages which is not seen to BWSSB people also, they will involve as our own purpose. They are called water warriors. For each ward, BWS entire Bengaluru is having 200 wards. In that each ward we are appointed 2 people, that will come to 400 warriors on behalf of BWSSB NGO people. They are working in Bengaluru to have a hands to hand with BWSSB in the NRW cooperation also. Along with that, it's a complaint management system. Central complaint management system is there. That is 1916 is our number. As soon as any complaint regarding it may be water supply leakage or water leakage or contamination or overflow, all those things will be monitored on the authority basis. It will first go to AE. Within 4 hours, he is not going to attend. Leakages are not attended. It will go to AWE, his superiors, like that. It will be accelerated. So that in that sense, any water leakages which happen in a city, we are having an oath to rectify those leakages within 24 hours.
Thank you.
It will also reduce the NRW of the entire city.
Thank you. Mr. Sarkar, if I can now come to you, in terms of the smart metering, and in terms of the SCADA systems, what is the level or incidence of use right now with whatever numbers you have?
See, the smart metering, there are 2 types actually. Basically, one is the meter itself is smart, another is the reading. Right. What is now being implemented in various places is that meter readings are being automated in many places.
Okay.
But the smart metering, as of all, it has not been quite prevalent as of now. But what we are thinking, or we are trying to suggest, is that at least for the high revenue meters or connections, or for the domestic, non-domestic and commercial connections, I think smart metering gradually we should try to put. And apart from that, I think what the BWSSB, Mr. Rajiv, what they told is that computerized SCADA monitoring system, or it's basically it's a asset management, GIS based asset management, which is a combination with billing and metering. I think that is the type of thing which all the utilities need to get, so that the control on the NRW becomes much easy, and decision making, capital investment, all those things becomes more proactive in that thing.
Okay, Mr. Vaidya, smart metering and SCADA.
Not able to hear.
Is everybody able to invest in it? And what is the economics? Are there different models that are there? But before I do that, you can just tell us why, what kind of success can people achieve with those?
See, so for as Mr. Sarkar said, the smart meters and the smart meter reading, like the AMR reading, are two different things. Now,
sir, if you can come closer to the mic,
so as Mr. Sarkar said, the smart meters and smart readings are two different things. Probably the journey is all about the smart meters, and as Mr. Sarkar said, many of the utilities we now have seen, even in India, they have started adopting for the smart meter technologies. For example, Pune, and some of the latest utilities tenders. I have seen they are going for SCADA, they are going for smart meters, and they are going for smart leak detection systems. So yeah, so I think people have started their journey. I believe that probably it's an ecosystem wherein the consultants, utilities, EPC contractors, and technology partners needs to work together. That's one of the key. It's a combination of IT and OT. So it's not just going and deploying this technology, but also monitoring and taking certain business decisions based on that is also important. Just installing the meters and just doing billing does not solve the purpose. It might not help you in anything for the NRW reduction. Doing the monitoring and controlling and doing business intelligence is also important. Project execution is also key. We have seen, like Mr. Sarkar said, pilot we have seen successful, but there are not large deployment happen. So we need to move now for the larger deployment. We have done lots of pilots,
right.
but the project execution is important, and dedicated team from all this ecosystem is equally important. Their role is equally important to get engaged and make sure that we successfully deploy these systems.
Okay, thank you. We're going to take some questions from the audience now. There is a specific question from Mr. Satyanarayan. As he stated, they have outsourced the complete function of WTP and transmission main and ensuring they're operating on optimum levels. Want to know what technology and software they're using to monitor the same. Is it real-time monitoring? Mr. Satyanarayan, is it real-time monitoring?
Yes, please. It is a real-time monitoring, and from there we have a central SCADA in the head office, and entire the production at treatment units of various treatment units we are able to monitor, and it's there on real-time basis.
Question from Mr. Kumar. Mr. Kumar, there's a question which says, should water audit be a planned periodic task or once in a while? And if pre-planned, what should be the frequency you would recommend?
Sorry, please repeat the question.
Yeah, sir. What should be the frequency of water audits in your opinion?
This is the earlier. The frequency should be actually we have installing the meters as well as the frequency will be it will be done on the regular basis. We are going to set up a permanent system over there.
Yeah, water audit.
Yes.
Okay.
Water auditing. This is being done one time. Initially, it will be done. After that, we will be having the data and record of all the things. And after getting this audit report, we'll be going for the further plan for that.
Okay. And should the audit be done on a sample of network or the entire network?
No, it will be done for the entire network.
Okay.
It will be done initially. It will be done in the phased manner. Initially, it is being done on the primary reservoir, secondary reservoir, and then after it will be taken to further, as I earlier told.
Okay. There's a question for Mr. Rajiv. Mr. Rajiv, if you had to estimate the impact of SCADA on NRW reduction, what would be your, I know it's a difficult question, but what would be your estimate?
So it is in terms of capital investment, we cannot say what percentage of NRW will reduce on the SCADA, but it will keep all the employers, means engineers and the other peoples on top, because SCADA will make them very alert because of the complaint, and not only in terms of the complaint what we are going to receive from the public or leakages and other things. It will give the quantity of water which is flowing into particular DMA, and he has to, the responsible engineer has to give the account of those quantum of water which is entering into his DMA by making the bill. He will have control over the billing and also water received, and we are going to have a DCB based on these SCADA reports. And every month we are going to identify a person who has taken more water and given less bill. So that responsibility we are going to fix on each of the engineers. So it is a sort of accounting. It helps in putting the responsibility on water use on each of particular division engineers or subdivision engineers, and it will help in maintaining the organization in a technical way. Otherwise, they will tell in on a number of stories, we have not received water or it went leak like that. So now it is all real time and they are responsible for quantum of water they received. Definitely, they are working towards reducing the NRW in this regard.
Okay. There is a question for Mr. Vaidya. Mr. Vaidya, does your company provide an OPEX model?
Yeah, so we have certain business models. So one is CapEx. Also, we have OPEX-based models.
So you do have an OPEX model. This question just wants to know whether you have an OPEX model. And also, are you aware of any LoRa technology being used in India?
I have heard, I have not seen LoRa much, even globally, while there are some deployments in LoRa, but these are the technologies.
Actually, in fact, the person who's asking the question has asked, is a question for Mr. Satyanarayan. He's saying Hyderabad has done it, has used LoRa technology. Is that true, Mr. Satyanarayan? And what has been the experience? Mr. Satyanarayan. Mr. Satyanarayan? He might have just logged out. Meanwhile, I'll ask a question from Mr. Kumar. Mr. Kumar, there's a question here that says there is a gap between demand and supply of water in Delhi. Where does the gap, when is the gap likely to be filled up? Also, how much is the groundwater and surface water share in Delhi water supply?
Yes. At present, the gap is around 250 million gallons per day. And we have the plan. You must be knowing that we have the no raw water source. Delhi don't have its own raw water source. We are dependent on the other states, river water from the Yamuna as well as from Ganga, UP and Haryana and other states. Recently, we have done an MOU with the Himachal for their unutilized share of about 268 cubic of the water. That's on the way of getting the water from them. But still, in between, there are other states, talks are going on. We are dependent, we are exploring the possibility of conservation of the groundwater and the resource, generate the resource of the groundwater. We are regenerating and creating around 155 water bodies and 5 new water bodies and expecting to get around 20 to 25 million gallon water per day from the groundwater extraction. Apart from the what we are presently fetching the groundwater, that is around 90-95 million gallon per day. And moreover, we have another ambitious program for there is one upstream reach of the river Yamuna, that Palla reach, we call the Palla area. We are also going to install some tube wells and generate the source over there. So that's why we are, so that we are expecting to generate around 50 from there, as well as 50, around 100 million gallon of the water from the groundwater coming years. These are the
Satyanarayan, if you can hear us now, a questioner wanted to know that HMW SSB has done metering on LoRa technology. And so what has been the experience? Mr. Satyanarayan? Do we have him, or Megha, could you separately check and see? So he's not able to hear us. Meanwhile, let's go to Mr. Rajiv from Bangalore. There is a question from Swachh from Saurabh Das Patnaik. And he wants to know, Mr. Rajiv, for the old pipeline investment, are you do you have any plan for raising international funding, or is there any PPP plan?
Yeah, normally BWSSB not yet tried with PPP plan so far. It is a new venture and it may come in future days. But we are going for international funding. We are the first organization in India to take JICA funded loans during 1998 onwards. So with the JICA funded projects only, we have completed 2 phases of Kaveri. In that, the NRW reduction was also one of the component, and we are now with the 3rd phase of water supply project by using JICA. And in future, yes, we are having other sources also. Amrut also we have taken. Now, right now, we are NRW, one of the project by 500 crores for area about 150 square kilometer is under preparation of DPR. That will be through our Amrut scheme.
Okay, there's a question for Mr. Vaidya. Mr. Vaidya, 2-part question. One is, what is the success rate of acoustic sensors in order to identify the leakages?
Yeah, so if you see from the global pattern, yeah, it's successful because there is a continuous water supply. I have seen the mixed success when it comes to India and intermediate water supply, and that's the precise reason what I said, in my earlier statement, where we need to do a tailor-made solution for India, considering intermediate and also the low pressure in India. So yeah, it's a mix of success. It's not fully successful.
Okay. Mr. Sarkar, question for you. What is the ideal size for DMA for larger cities?
Size, you see the DMA, generally average size it should be 1,500 connections. But since it's a hydraulically discrete thing, so it's not possible every time to have a average 1,500 or so. Sometimes sizes it goes up to 2,500 connections DMA, and some sizes are even 300, 400 connections DMA also there. It's based on how you can hydraulically discrete that DMA. But on an average, 1,000 to 1,200 should be a standard size of a DMA.
Okay. Mr. Kumar, question for you. Somebody wants to know, why is it that you're not using decentralized concepts to treat wastewater?
The Delhi Jal Board has started decentralized treatment of the water. As I earlier told you.
Your interconnection is
Are you able to hear?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes. As I earlier told you, we are regenerating the water bodies, 155 number of the water body.
No, wait a bit now.
We are installing the decentralized treatment plants, as well as there are the other places where the decentralization study is being conducting over there. How at the places where the decentralized treatment plants can be installed. So we are going ahead with this.
Okay, so you are going ahead with that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Another question, which is for you, which is for flow meters for SCADA implementation, will it be fruitful or not? This is coming from another urban local body question.
I'm sure it will be fruitful.
Okay, I thought that might be the answer. And somebody wants to know, and maybe Mr. Sarkar can answer this. What is the time period for calibration of buried flow meters? I don't know. It's a pretty technical question.
Calibration for, you see, generally it is recommended to calibrate meters at least yearly.
Right.
Calibration is required.
Okay. All right. A question from Mr. Kumar. Is there any common GIS-based IT platform to monitor entire DJP's water supply or resource optimization?
As if not.
Okay.
As if no.
Okay. It says another question for you is, as DJP has one of the biggest smart meter installations in India, that's what this person says. I mean, you can confirm that. Do you welcome pilot initiatives to leverage these technologies for DMA level water management?
Yes,
Can
yes.
we come to you with pilot?
Yes, yes, yes. We want to go for that. That will be welcome. Anyone want to come? Earlier we had a meeting with the entrepreneurs who are in the field of the meeting and all those, and we have given the offer to them. And anyone is there, they are most welcome.
Okay. Question for Mr. Vaidya. What are the challenges you have faced in conversion from intermittent supply to 24/7 water supply in pilot zones, the ones you are involved with? Mr. Vaidya?
So when I have seen, you know, it's more about creating the DMA and creating the DMA with the closer loops. That's the one, and maintaining the pressurized system, having sensors and meters installed at the consumer end was one of the really painful tasks. Yeah, so probably these are some of the things which really face.
Okay. Mr. Rajiv, how do you ensure the hydraulic sealing of DMA for DMS?
Pardon? A question?
How do you ensure hydraulic sealing of DMA?
Yeah. So hydraulic sealing of DMA is basically based on the WHO standards of 150 liters per day in that particular area. How many connections are there? We are going to identify that. Along with that, considering our normal NRW also we are going to add, and that much area of this one water we are going to give the particular DMA. And in the DMA formation also, it should be in such a way that normally we will restrict that to 1,500 to 2,000 connections, so that we can pre-divide those areas in order to have feasibility test, pressure test also, because it's an intermediate supply. Giving the water to 24/7 to that particular DMA in order to establish bottom line is very difficult for us. So now, based on intermediate supply only, we have used the graphs which it is available in standards. We are made the bottom UFW NRW calculations. Then from there we have worked back to reduce the NRW to the NRW which we are given the target to them.
Mr. Vaidya, question for you from Mr. Saurav Das Patnaik. What is the difference between smart meter and smart communication, and can you suggest what type of meters are necessary?
So basically, if I understand,
He's from Swachh Environment.
Yeah. So smart meters is basically the meters which is with the static technology, which has static meters, maybe ultrasonic or electromagnetic technology. It does not have the moving parts, and it has smart elements like it has inbuilt data logger, inbuilt radio into it. So you can have the smart, you can have a walk-by, drive-by AMR system, or you can adopt the AMI technologies like NB-IoT or fixed data network. So these are the relevance in terms of smartness into it as compared to the old mechanical meters, which is, you can differentiate the air and water into the pipe and creates the issue when even it measures the air as well. In terms of smart communication technology, yes, the world is moving very fast in terms of the communication technology. You have heard, people have done the pilots even in LoRa. So yeah, there are many smart communication technology which are coming up. IoTs, NB-IoT, LoRa, Sigfox, FlexNet. These are different.
And what are the meters you would recommend?
So the meters which probably I would recommend for India going forward in terms of not only doing the accurate billing, but also will play a major role for NRW reduction is the smart meters with static technology. It can be ultrasonic, electromagnetic, but yeah, and with the battery operated. And just to add to Sarkar's point of view, as he mentioned that probably the calibration is required for every 1 year. Just to add to that point, probably if utility adopts these smart meters, which has this static technology, the electromagnetic and ultrasonic, you really don't need to calibrate these meters because this meters accuracy can be life for a long life.
Okay. Next question, Mr. Kumar. Somebody is asking: are flow meters with AC supply better than DC supply or battery?
At present, we are going for the AC supply. We are going for the AC supply. AC supply at present, but I can't exactly comment on this because somewhere we tried for the DC supply, but we are certainly adopting. I will inquire from my other persons about this, then only I can tell you.
Okay, sir, another question for you. What is the percentage of old water infrastructure pipeline as part of your network? What part of it would you say is not modern enough?
Percentage of the old pipeline pipe supply unit. This is around 70%. Around 70% of the city is the old pipelines. Although we have replaced many old pipelines, but even then, I believe 70% old pipelines.
Okay, and one more question for you, Mr. Sharad-Kumar. What has been the experience in the PPP in your areas, specifically as it relates to NRW?
The experience has been quite good, and certainly, if they could have got a conducive atmosphere in the sense, the cooperation from the people and the coordination from the other department would have been better. It could have achieved a much better and given the much better result. And I believe this is a good experiment.
Okay, and when you say better, what is it that they did not do that you think they should have done?
Basically, as I earlier told you, if people are very much not very proactive for getting their water connection changed, getting their meter installed, getting their new water connections, there are large number of the unauthorized connections which are to be taken into the network. For those purposes, no doubt, our government has also cooperated a lot. Even then, for them, they have Delhi government has brought in policy when they may get the water connection at only free of cost without depositing any development charge, any other charges. They have liberalized it too much. No doubt, their effects are coming now, and I believe in the coming days, we'll be able to achieve much more what we could not do earlier.
Okay, this is a question for Bangalore. What is the technology being used for the AMR metering, and how is the data being transferred to? And is the data being transferred directly to server?
Yeah. It is transferring to our server to communication mode of SIM communication.
SIM communication mode. Okay, and there is a question now for Hyderabad, and just trying to get this just over here. And now there's so many questions that are now coming in very rapidly. What about the reuse and of treated wastewater? Are you doing that, Mr. Satyanarayan?
Yes, sir. It's not really much on the wastewater. We have about 752 MLD capacity of STPs at different locations, which are all mostly of secondary treatment level only. But where our GHMC for parking and other areas, for plantation, gardening, watering. So for them, we are providing for reuse, but not for practically for any industrial and other purposes. We are not able to provide it. It's not much in terms of percentage.
Mr. Sarkar, what is the best technology to assess condition of existing pipe network?
I think it should be a combination. It cannot be a thing because there are various ways of knowing the conditions of the pipes. So sometimes it may be through the GPRs for the alignment, and then sometimes you have to take samples of the pipes to make a condition assessment. So each utility should have a condition assessment strategy, which should include various types of condition assessment methods, like by pipe age assessment, then condition assessment, then even the material of pipes, different types of materials of pipes. So that will all come into the asset register. That is the reason the asset management system, computerized asset management system, is very key.
Okay. There is a question for Mr. Sharad Kumar. Mr. Shalabh Kumar, of the 3 areas where you have PPPs, which area is doing best in terms of NRW?
Malviya Nagar is doing best nowadays.
Okay. And sir, what is the level? I know you had mentioned that earlier, but what is the level there now?
35.
35 level. Okay. And we just have a few more minutes. Question for Bangalore. Why is Bangalore not using HDPE pipes and sticking to conventional piping system? Mr. Rajiv.
Yeah, BWSSB is using, as on today, HDPE, medium density pipes we have used in earlier projects. Now we are using conventional pipes we are stopped using, that is GI house connections. We are not using GI pipes, we are using MDP pipes. And for distribution network, we are using DI pipelines, which is the best material MOC for any of the distribution pipeline when it comes to the durability is concerned. And in future, we may go for house connections, small HDP pipes, we may go for that.
Okay, for Hyderabad, Mr. Satyanarayan, when we had that interruption, I was asking you the question, what has been the experience of use of LoRa technology in Hyderabad? Mr. Satyanarayan.
Yeah, no, that's what we are now experimenting itself. We're planning to call for tender. We want to have our own LoRa network, and the Tata networks we have little, and now proof of concept, about 100 meters of ultrasonic meters at different locations. At 3 locations we have installed, and those agencies are connecting this LoRa WAN. And after successful of this proof of concept for 100 meters, we want to float a tender to have our HMWSSB own LoRa network. So almost we have taken approval from the government, and we want to float the tender. So compared to GSM and other RFID technology, it's very cost effective. And we want to go for it in a big way using this LoRa technology for all non-domestic water connections.
Okay, my last question now for each of the utilities, my last question is, starting with Mr. Kumar, what is the CapEx likely to be in the coming fiscal year, total CapEx, and also specific tenders that you are looking for in the area of non-revenue water or related areas? Tenders coming up. This is the industry.
Tenders coming, exact capacity I cannot tell you right now, but what I expect, 1600 crores.
Okay,
we are expecting.
Okay, Mr. Satyanarayan.
Yeah, right now, very immediately, we have about 17 crores on the metering project, which is part of NRW. And for LoRa network, we have about 4 crores. And for DMA metering, almost we have worked out to 200 crores or something like that.
And what is the total?
Year or so, we want to implement it. This one.
What is the total capex for water services overall?
Yeah, altogether it comes to about 250 crores.
No, total capex for including everything, not just water and metering. Just total capex.
No, other infrastructure projects, we have a major, whatever the new areas we have taken over there. The basic the reservoirs and pipeline network infrastructure,
including all
there about yeah.
So including that will be, what is the total capex there?
Yeah, then the project reports what we have submitted to the government so far is around 5,000 crores worth of DPRs we have submitted to the government, which are in the plans of approval from the government side.
Okay, lastly, the same question to Mr. Rajiv.
Yeah. See, we are already called the tender for water supply infrastructure improvement project under JICA funded project to an extent of 3,000 crores is already called. It is under a process and under the award stage. Okay, because of this COVID-19, it is postponed by 1 or 2 months. Along with excluding this, we have NRW reduction projects, which is going to come up with the Amrut scheme funding. It is having a lot of meter replacement also, and old pipeline replacement also, house connection replacement also in the core area. To an extent of 500 crores, we are making the DPR and getting it from
okay, all right.
Amrut scheme, and it is going to come up in.
Okay. With that, we will close the session. I promised 12:15. I'm sorry to have gone 5 more minutes, but I think this has been a very informative and very insightful session. We've had 95 to 110 people logged in at various times. My thanks to Mr. Kumar, my thanks to Mr. Satyanarayan, my thanks to Mr. Rajiv, my thanks to Mr. Sarkar, and my thanks to Mr. Vedya also for Census being the sponsor of this series and making sure that we are able to do this. But I hope to see you all in person when this COVID situation goes away. And we hope that we will be able to see you in Delhi or maybe in Hyderabad in person. Thank you very, very much again. We are going to keep the screen up there for 10 more minutes for people to have any feedback or any questions they have. And then we can relay those questions to the panelists. But thank you to all the panelists. Sir. You can leave the meeting if you'd like. Thank you, sir. Thank you.